Have you been inspired by what you've heard on The Naked Doctor Show? Would you like to help others transform their lives as well as yours? You may qualify to join the most exciting and lucrative health and wellness movement on the planet. The Naked Doctor Show is sponsored by Better Living RX, helping men and women live better longer by providing total bio-optimization. We've smashed wellness. Bio-optimization is the new revolution in health and wellness. Our coaches transform lives. If you are ready to transform lives and earn a great living, this is the opportunity for you. Learn more at betterlivingrx.com.
Now let me get this straight. Put the lime in the coconut.
So, Dr. Tammy, why call it The Naked Doctor?
Well, it's the naked truth about health, wellness, and lifestyle, but it's also fun not to wear clothes in the studio.
Hi, welcome back this week to The Naked Doctor. I'm Dr. Tammy.
And this is Chrissy.
And we have Lisa Lynn this week and on the phone in the studio with her new book. We want to talk about that a little bit. Welcome, Lisa. Thanks for being back on the show.
Thanks so much for having me. It's great to be here.
So tell us a little bit about what you've been up to lately. I just got a care package this week. I'm so excited. I got supplements and protein shakes and a new book. And I've actually been doing your exercise videos. Can you believe that?
Oh,
awesome. Look at you. Way to start out the year, right?
That metabolic booster is on the video that you have. I'm not going to say it's easy, but it's tolerable because it's short and sweet. But it is the number one most effective thing I've ever done in my career. Like, I'm flabbergasted by myself. It's just put together in a way that you could take 30 minutes, work your whole body out, and see and feel results right away.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, I was sweating. I was a little short of breath within the first 5 minutes. It was crazy. Crazy.
Yeah, so most people want to know, do I sleep? Because I will say I spend about 2 hours a day in research, deep research, and always trying to come up with solutions to problems people have. One of them being, when I trained Martha Stewart, I had to take any supplement that I put in her mouth and have it tested. And what came back to me kind of flabbergasted me. They said, we don't even know what this is. I had sent them a protein powder at the time, so I didn't set out to do what I'm doing. This is divine intervention that you see. But I just said, so what am I supposed to do? I have to give this woman a quality product, otherwise I'll hurt her. And I set out to call my the doctors who mentor me. So what do I do? If you want a good one, you got to make it yourself. And so that's about what I do for about 40 hours a week. I find places to provide the cleanest, purest sources of whey with very little, as you notice the label, there's like nothing added to it, but it tastes great. So the other half of the time I'm working with flavors because I'm a firm believer if it doesn't taste good, you're not going to drink it no matter
that's
how good.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And yours is the best. I don't know what your formula was a couple of years ago, but I remember we had some a couple of years ago, and I just loved it. And everything else has been kind of just, it's kind of like a love affair, It's like once you have the love of your life, it's like everything else is just kind of passing time. And so we've gone through so many different companies. And so when Brian got your powder the other day, it was like this sky opened up and I had my old lover back.
Now I'm noticing right now that there's probably people with their phone in their hand saying, okay, wait, where's this website? So let's tell them a website address real quick.
Yes, lynfit.com, LYNFIT.com.
Okay.
And I have to say, I had struggled, to stay healthy and lose weight and deal with my cravings, despite I knew I was training everybody and getting makeovers, but I really struggle with my sweet tooth. I love food, and when I'm stressed, I eat. And so when I went to school for behavioral psychology, they're a firm believer in meal replacement. I didn't believe in them at the time. I was a bodybuilder. I thought everybody stopped and made egg whites. And then I became a mom, and I realized that wasn't reality anymore. So women either miss meals completely, or they eat the wrong thing. And so I started to see this as a solution to a problem. While a lot of people scratch their heads and don't agree with it, when you follow them, you'll see this is the biggest problem. We're too busy to do the right thing, so why can't we make it easier? And, of course, I'm human. It has to taste really good. And Martha was my taste tester.
Oh, yeah. Nobody's going to be more picky than Martha's do it.
Yeah.
Let's just say I piss off about 10 people. They're like, this can't be done. And I am like the bumblebee that can't fly. I'm like, I don't understand the word can't. I really don't. I have a mental block, and it's a disease, actually. But I think, well, let's just try, have full faith we're going to get this quality product, a price you can afford, but if it tastes good, like I crave that, and I whip it up like a cappuccino.
Nice.
You know, and the thing about it, too, is the dissolvability. Is that a word? I just made up a new word.
Well,
but oh my gosh.
Try to mix something and it's nasty clumps.
Oh, yeah. No, this immediately, you don't even have to really stir it. It's just crazy.
Nice.
It just goes right into, I use rice milk, but...
You know, people don't realize a really high-quality whey protein, like what you buy, it pains me to see people go to these warehouse stores or to the local drugstore and think that they're going to get a quality product for $7. And I wish that was the case, and I continue to try to make that possible. But the truth is, it's not possible. You get what you pay for, and a really high-quality whey is so powerful in the healing world for immune boosting that this is what the burn centers, in fact, one of my first shakes wasn't my mixture, but it's what they used in the burn centers out in California because the glutamine was so high in there. And so I tweaked it and flavored it to make it fit, suitable for people like ourselves who want the protein to keep their bodies, their lives, and their faces nice and tight and healthy, and also to boost metabolism and to replace the not-so-good things we're eating.
Right.
And voila, you had my baby.
And, glutamine is so powerful for repairing leaky gut and, as you know, for muscle recovery. It's funny, I have... if I have patients or friends, and they've been working out a little harder than maybe they meant to, I'll be like, take 2,000 milligrams of glutamine, and like within 20 minutes, their muscle soreness is gone. People don't believe me, but glutamine is...
No, you're right on the money, by the way.
amazing.
This is what they refer to as the quick hit in the pro gyms, and also that this is what every celebrity professional athlete does, that the amateur always wants to know what the secret. They drink a shake every day, a really good one.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Well, let me ask you a question. What about somebody that is sensitive to milk protein? Is this something? Is there casein?
That's
in
a great
it,
conversation with the whey isolate and the hydroxylates.
Very good. Mm-hmm. That's why I just love you, girl. She's so smart. Because the truth is, I don't believe in dairy products, and we really should kind of. I have them for dessert. Okay, I'll be honest. I have a little bit each day, but the more we can stay away from dairy, the healthier our bodies will be. Not 100%, but in the bodybuilding world, they don't have dairy at all for years to get so lean that their skin can get thick. What people don't know is their bodies don't break it down. That's why we have sensitivities, and it affects our skin and our gut. Not only that, it makes you bloated and fat. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, it's
but
terrible.
at the same time, whey is derived from dairy. So in the high end, when you get up into the real, start to learn more, what you realize is they can microfilter out all the bad stuff and only leave intact the stuff that our bodies really need and can digest, the amino acids.
Oh, excellent.
So
it's good to know, because I've always worried about that when I thought, if I'm trying to eliminate dairy, then and I want to go for a high quality, but am I just giving myself more of what I'm not supposed to have? Boy, it gets confusing
and most of the time
sometimes.
You are, to tell you the truth. Like when you see $19.95 or these inexpensive shakes, you're really getting nothing more than Yoo-hoo with a fancy label, to be honest. And so
I'm on the Yoo-hoo diet.
Well, I had a lady come in the other day. Stomach, the whole family's going through all kind of issues. You know how this goes. Come to find out, they all think that this juicing is like the best thing since sliced bread. They're not even making them themselves. They're buying these, I won't say the name of the company, but they are dairy products and sugar, and they're paying $5 a pop for them. And so not all shakes are created equal. And I prefer people hit pause and don't do anything versus buy the wrong thing.
Right. That makes sense.
So is my understanding, as I remember it, there's hydroxylate and there's isolate, and the hydroxylate is the purer form. Is that correct?
It is. But, people get so freaked out into both forms, and the truth is you're talking about sometimes when you're in a high-quality whey, that is, like the one you drank, it's about the highest quality. I call it the Lamborghini of whey. It's the highest get. You're talking about 1% in a difference of the protein, and sometimes that more nutrition is intact. So buy high quality, and you don't have to worry about any of that.
And I did not intend for this to be a Lisa Lynn formula
no.
or a protein powder
I
commercial,
have to say,
but
though,
it is
because
awesome.
if it's not explained, those of us who don't know the science behind it simply look at the different shake mixes and say, well, this one just costs more because somebody's put their name on it, or this one just costs more because they're trying to get more money out of me. But if you understand the difference in the quality, you're going to be less likely to go, I'm just going to stop by the drugstore on the way home.
The only reason, because I'm always trying to help people where I was stuck and depressed, and I would just buy all the products. I went broke, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
and
you
that
can
was
spend
what
a
led
fortune.
me. Yeah, and not only that, they don't work. They end up worse than before. So I can't tell you how many emails I get. People are like, they're way phobic now. They got to have the vegan sources. First of all, they're disgusting. You'll take one sip for your $50 jug and you'll never touch it again.
Yeah.
And I like a lot of healthy things, and even I've worked all year to try to find a pea protein that I could flavor. And I'll be honest, 50,000 samples and 10 pounds later, nothing's happening yet.
Wow.
So buyer beware.
And everybody really promotes the pea protein. That's really a big thing. So that's
I don't even like peas in
know why
their
it's
whole
big?
form. I don't know.
Well, exactly. And
Blah.
the reason this is so big now, these vegan sources, is because all these big companies have caught on to this, how good whey is. And so Coca-Cola is one of them. They actually bought up whey and they sprinkle it in a lot of their products. They sprinkle it. They get all the stuff that we throw away that we won't use, and then they put on their label contains protein, and so now whey has become extremely expensive and hard to get, and that's why you're going to see pea, potato, all kind of proteins pop up, not because they're better, but because they're available and they're cheap.
Yeah. Yuck. That's
So I
like
want to steer
high
people
fructose
out of
corn
those
syrup.
corners.
It's like that. Ugh.
Yeah.
Man, I love knowing things.
Yes.
I always feel more empowered when we have these little talks. I love it.
Yeah. I didn't know, so I wish I had a show like this because I fell in all the holes only to say, that didn't work for me. It's not that it didn't work for me. I was buying the wrong thing, and I had no clue.
Yeah, and I tell patients all the time, I use only quality medical grade nutraceuticals for my supplements. And by the way, I love yours. I've been taking your stuff this week, so it's really, really
That's
good.
it.
But most of the time before I knew about your supplements, I only use companies that have done their research and, just really put quality into things. So people think that they can go to Walmart and just buy cheap stuff. And I tell them all the time, you are just wasting your money. And people will waste a lot of money trying to feel
And it
better.
costs you more in the end. I don't think people realize, I'm coaching people all day like you are, and I have the excuse, I can't afford. The truth is, it's so much more expensive to be unhealthy and do the wrong thing, that if they really ran the numbers, and I have a few people I put on a challenge to do this, how inexpensive it really is when you look at it, but we let fear get in the way. And I say, buyer beware, ask the questions, ask the hard questions, and if people can't answer you behind the counter, keep walking.
Oh, yeah. No, I understand that.
Yeah, it's crazy. And some of those health food stores, they've just got like teenagers working in there.
Yeah,
and
they don't know.
It's crazy. Oh, I've got a little story. So the producer's saying it's time to take a little break here, Lisa. So let's take a little break and we'll come right back and we'll talk more. And I want to talk about your book too. Hi, welcome back to The Naked Doctor. I'm Dr. Tammy.
And I'm Chrissy.
And we have the famous Lisa Lynn, who is a personal trainer and nutritionist, health coach. She trained Martha Stewart and just kind of sharing
Talk
a little,
about
picking her
going
brain.
with the pickiest possible client in the world. I don't even know how you
I know,
did
I
that.
often ask God, why me?
Yeah. It's like it was a great thing for you, I'm sure, but it had to be incredibly challenging.
No, you know what, though, what I love about people, one thing about Martha is she demands excellence, and, I really believe that we need to have that. We were kind of talking on the break about that paradigm shift, about insisting on excellence and not allowing it to be negotiable, and that should be included with a doctor when we take a product, but she insists on it. And so what I love about her is that if she doesn't know something, she makes it her business to find out.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I
just
like that.
And if everybody did that, how healthy of a world would we live in?
Yeah, because you wouldn't be taking anybody's word for it.
Yep.
And it's not like we don't have access to all the information in the world. You do have to sift through to make sure that you're getting accurate information, but we really do have access to so much more than we used to.
We do. And then it takes courage to believe in that change and to, as they say in church, do the do, because, if you're not, you can have all the beliefs, but if you're not doing it, we're going nowhere. And I get so frustrated when I see unhealthy people. I mean, I hear it all day like you must, Dr. Tammy, with the cholesterol. And people actually say it as if there's nothing they can do about it.
Yeah. Like, well,
I
this
have
is
to
just
contain
how
myself.
it is.
Well, we
Right.
have a society that tends to be very likes to be victimized and likes to have excuses and likes to feel like
Well,
it's my
and
genetics.
don't change my habits that I'm comfortable with, please.
That's right.
Don't
That's
make
right.
me have to give up my donut and coffee in the morning. It's like, you know that's not good for you. You know that.
Yeah. And the other thing is, it's not as bad as people think. Like, I'm writing a book with my pastor and talking about how God has to wrestle our bad habits away from us. Yet it is the thing that we want, that change that we wrestle and we fight and we resist. It's exactly how we get that dream that we're begging for. So why not just let go? And bake the donut helps.
But it is hard for people to really let go and trust like that. It's like a trust fall almost.
Oh,
Even though
yeah.
it's got to be better for you than where you are. It's got to be better.
You know better than anybody. I have been there, and I have fought with the fear factor, and that your husband has miraculously changed my life to just, what is this that I'm feeling? Like, if I'm sick, I don't really get sick anymore since I've learned how to take better care of myself.
Yeah.
I don't have to get sick to take care of myself. I do it preventatively.
And that's wonderful.
Not to say I don't get those little bugs everybody brings around me, but I used to really go down, and it was more of I needed some nurturing, and I didn't know how to ask. And everything that happens on our body really is physical, mental, spiritually connected, and we really have to look at all three systems in order to. You can't just pop a supplement and get better, or even a drug for that matter.
I just had a patient yesterday who was, she's 6'1", I think she weighs about 350 pounds, something like that, and she said she has just struggled with self-love and just nurturing herself and that kind of thing, her whole life. And she's looking at me, and I said, you know what, I've struggled with the same things, and she couldn't believe it. And I'm like, it's not the outside, it's not the box that you're in that makes those internal struggles. And I think everybody has that journey to walk and learning to love themselves. And
I wish I had a doctor like you. You know how much money people would save if they had a good doctor like yourself who addressed, I call it PMS, time you want, the physical, mental, spiritual aspect, and get with a doctor, a coach, a mentor, if it has to be by phone or the internet, who can guide you on all three divisions. Because you know what they say in the sports world, you're only as strong as your weakest muscle. And so you could have the strongest biceps, but if your legs are weak, that's your denominator right there. That includes our emotional and spiritual health. So if we're physically off the charts and mentally and spiritually a wreck, we're not going to live the happy lives that the bliss we're meant to be living.
I think one of the biggest challenges too, and I think you can probably relate to this, Lisa, is that we have such big hearts, and we want to, with each person, we want to just, do so much for them. But the scalability, things like writing books, like your latest book, you've got. You just said you're writing a book with your pastor. That's where that's where we're able to really help the most people, is through the production of the the videos and the tapes and those things that we do. The radio shows, because
totally.
Because
we can spread the word, and I don't know if people realize how much of a commitment, like on your part, and financial and personal commitment it takes to do that, to do this kind of stuff, just to get the word out there. But I was depressed on the couch and overweight and struggled with all that. I was sick all the time. And so I had to address, physically I was a brain who needed more amino acids for depression. It turned the lights on in my head. And then I need a little more B complex, because anxious people tend to funnel B vitamins out like gas in a Hummer, and that's why people need supplements, because people start to have this negative taste in their mouth. And you don't need all of them, and some people don't need any. But if something's not working right for you, there are solutions so that when you turn those lights on, like for me, if my lights are on mentally, I call it like a bad brain day, I can't hear God's voice. I couldn't hear the positive thing you were saying to me because I'm so trapped in my thoughts or frozen, stuck.
Right.
Caroline.
It's like being in a fog, and you really forget what it was like not to have that fog.
And obsessive thoughts.
Yeah.
I think that's
horrible.
That's one of the nice things I like about doing some, limited genetic testing. I don't like to go overboard with people, but there's a few things that you can do just to help them identify when their body gets stressed. This is how you're going to funnel your B vitamins, or, this is your, especially like niacin and methylfolate and things like that. So I'll check, COMT or MTHFRs and things like that. And it really helps them identify, where their challenges and struggles are, just like checking thyroid or hormones.
Right. I was going to say, especially when you get to the menopausal age, I'm in that phase where sometimes I have to do 150% of things, and the lights still just don't turn on correctly until I have to balance my hormones, of course. But the truth is, there are things we can do, and it breaks my heart to see a lot of women struggle here. And they go to the doctor and they get put on Xanax, and I've watched lives fall out of control, marriages, kids, good jobs, just because they'll listen to the lab coat for the quick fix. Well, sometimes these take a few days longer, but you get a better result.
Oh, yeah. I just had a patient this week who was put on Xanax or benzodiazepine because she had a sleep study, and she was told that she had restless leg syndrome, and that would help her sleep. And it's really just like zonking her out and like keeping her in just one sleep phase. And I'm like, the number one cause of restless leg is iron deficiency, and we're not looking at
but how much money is the pharmaceutical company going to make off of iron deficiency?
Yeah.
That's right.
And that always just makes me mad.
Right. Because sometimes these solutions are so easy. It's like, as humans, we have to overcomplicate everything. Every time I pray on this, what can I do? That's how I got the title to my book, The Metabolism Solution. God literally was so bold, he dropped it down on a license plate. I'm like, okay, I hear you. Because I had a whole other nice title, but solutions to problems. That's what we should always be looking for, not the obstacle to keep us away, but how can we solve this? What can we do? And what's the path with the least resistance?
And I think it's so easy just to get frustrated and not look for solutions and just complain.
Yeah.
That's what most people do.
I'm miserable.
I have a title for that. It's called constructive bitching, pardon the expression.
Yes. No, that's exactly, I hear a lot of that.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah, and in fact, I was just like doing that to my husband yesterday, and I'm like, oh, the scalability of what I do is never going to be practical because I have all these people calling me, asking me all these questions, and he's like, so you make an FAQ, you write a book, you do a video, and you put it out there, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's a solution.
Oh yeah. Well, even those of us that like to be a source of answers for people that are struggling often have difficulty listening when we're the ones that need the assistance. Yeah. And I ran into that again recently. And and here's the thing. I had to work not to beat myself up over that. Because, once again, I had a little hiccup in my weight. I had some stuff happen professionally. And I immediately went, this is terrible. And I went into this feeling sorry for myself. Not for very long. Let me put that out there. It was better.
Thank God.
But I did have to stop and say, what is it that I would tell someone if I was sitting across from myself? I need to speak to myself with kindness, no differently than I would to someone that I cared about. I need to stop and just visualize myself giving myself a hug and saying, everything's going to be all right. This too shall pass. You know what to do to make this right. And I think when we get to that self-love discussion, it doesn't necessarily have to be staring at yourself in the mirror and saying, I love you over and over again, because a lot of us don't feel like that's genuine.
It's just being kind.
It's being kind to yourself the way that you would to anyone else that was coming to you for help.
You're so right. That is like the hardest thing I find, and I'm working on that, learning how to receive. I love to give. I have a really hard time letting people do things for me. I have to I call it sit on my hands. And they say that this is the year of mercy. And I add to that, this is the year of mercy on yourself. Because if we're not extending what you just said, to ourselves, we really aren't. We can't really be of help to anybody else because we're going to portray what we're feeling about ourselves.
Yeah.
That's a lot of work, but it's worth it.
Yes. And if we're frustrated with other people not receiving and hearing, then That's probably where we need to make the changes within ourselves to be more willing to receive.
Oh yeah,
and
nothing
hear.
frustrates me more than somebody playing the victim.
Yeah,
and, you know,
it's bouncing. You see it just bouncing off of them.
Yeah.
Right.
All right,
That pity potty. I
party.
calloused on my butt sitting on that thing. So now I have a new exercise. Like I try to jump up really fast off the pity potty.
I love it. We add fitness to our pity party.
Yes, that's right.
You want some music with that? Hey, Lisa.
Did you ever notice how dark it gets when you're like, that's where I instantly go from a nice high happy level to down fast quick. It's when I start to feel sorry. There's always something we could be like, poor me, but there's always blessing on the other side that we have to take.
Yeah, pull it together. All right, they're saying it's time for a little break, so let's take a little break, and we'll be right back with Lisa Lynn and the Naked Doctor. Hi, welcome back to The Naked Doctor. This is Dr. Tammy.
And this is Chrissy.
And we have Lisa Lynn, celebrity fitness trainer,
yes,
expert, and we're having
a fun. She's just a fun lady.
Just fun, having a fun conversation. Lisa, I'm so excited, and we just have so much to talk about, and just so passionate about the same things. But I want to talk about your new book you've got out with. I'm going to butcher his name, so I'm going to let you say the collaborator that you worked with on this, Deepak Narayan.
Yeah, Deepak Narayan, Dr. Narayan. Yep.
Okay, great. So how were you inspired? And it's a beautiful book, by the way. I'm so excited. I'm about halfway through it. I'm a bit of a speed reader, but it's been a crazy week for me. But how did you get inspired to write this?
Well, I, believe it or not, ended up with melanoma, shocked. And long story short, I had this mole on my leg that I had been watching. I pride myself on taking care of myself because I hate doctors, to be honest with you. They're not like you, Dr. Tammy.
Right, yeah, no, I totally understand.
I watched this mole grow, and I went to the doctor on Christmas Eve, and I said, you got to take that off. I just had this gut whisper that I'm learning in my late 40s. Listen to it because it's almost always right. So the first time I did, and I probably wouldn't be alive today if I hadn't, the mole came off and it came back as tested positive for melanoma, which I didn't even know what it was. I won't lie, I love sun, I love the warmth. Everything I do is outside. I get too much. But I never thought that I would get that kind of melanoma or how destructive it was. Sometimes it's just genetics. Our genetics flip, and sometimes we just can't control it. But what I learned from the doctor, the surgeon that I wrote the book with, was prevention's the cure, and there are so many things that you could do, handle quickly. Like the minute you see cholesterol spike, shut it down. If you have a mole that doesn't look good, don't wait, because your survival is huge if you act fast, but it might not be if you wait. I felt like that message wasn't getting conveyed out to the world. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm, and also there's a lot of steps, PMS, physically, mentally, spiritually, that we can take, like it's choosing a positive thought instead of a negative one, choosing to love ourselves enough to follow through with our health care, which is huge. I decided to write this book with them to help people empower themselves, because if you're a depressed mind like mine, when you're stressed and you're sick, you just shut down. I was paralyzed for a while.
Yes.
So I'm grateful to be alive, and there's also a lot of things people can do, like taking vitamin D every day to boost immunity, or like people think supplements are an option, I guess we should say. But there's certain times where, prevention's the cure, and if you can take a nice D boost to boost your immunity, among other things, as well as what you eat, what you think, why not stand up against cancer in that way?
Vitamin.
And so I developed a product that is very efficient, the highest pharmaceutical grade. You didn't even want to know how hard that one was to make, but I donate all the proceeds to melanoma research so that physicians globally, these researchers who are flabbergasting to me, on 4th of July I walked in and they were in their offices doing research, and I was like, if every cancer survivor knew how hard people like that research, doctors like Dr. Tammy turning over every rock, like yourself, every aspect from physical, mental, spiritual, they would feel a lot more secure in knowing there really is a fight going on. It's being fought. and it's effective.
Mm-hmm. Now, was this your actual doctor that treated you, that you collaborated with on this? That's awesome.
Yeah.
So
He actually was a surgeon who had to cut, he made a huge dent in my leg. I still give him grief for, but I insist on staying awake so I could ask him all kind of, I'm curious. And I don't think that's bad. And he says it's made him a better doctor because they don't have enough patients who really want to know and learn and get active in their care. And I think the most important message in all of that is that you're not a victim, you're a victor, and you got to stand up against it and fight, or you're going to feel like you're a victim.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And we all make our choices. I saw a funny little Facebook post the other day that said, I take my Prilosec to combat the side effects of my ibuprofen, and I take my ibuprofen to combat the side effects of my statin cholesterol medication. And it just went on and on, like 5 or 6 different medicines. And I said, and that keeps me so busy that I would never have time to seek out vitamins or chiropractic care.
Really?
And so it's just like, wow.
And that's what's sad about that is that's true. For so many people.
Yeah. It's just we all make our choices, and people are like, well, I can possibly, take all those supplements, and I'm like, but you're taking a bag full of medication.
Yes.
It's starting to really annoy me, I have to say. I keep praying that God gives me patience, and he's not. He's like digging his foot in my back, like, my doctor says, that's what he put you here to do something about. So I think women on a mission, like, we have to let it rip because people don't realize they have more control than they think.
Yeah. Okay, now, and just for some clarification, Lisa, as your friend, do not pray for patience.
I know. It seems like you just get more lessons about patience when you do that.
That's what you get.
God gives you more to get frustrated about to practice your patience.
Not anymore.
I love
Goodness
it.
sakes.
So that had to be pretty scary.
Oh, yeah.
Facing cancer, facing melanoma. Wow. That's a really big deal. That's your mortality, your morbidity just kind of faces you, and it really, I'm sure, changes things.
And that's a very good point. What is the first thing everybody does? Like, this has to make you nuts as hit the Google bar. And Google is not God. It has you dead in 24 hours. And they're not really reading. I did it, and I instantly shut it off because I tell all my clients to stop with the fitness and just shut it off. And I waited till go to church so I knew the people when I was down were going to lift me up and remind me how strong I really was.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep.
The cancer industry is based in fear, just like the pharmaceutical and the insurance companies. They all are fear-based. And so they really want to rush you into surgery. They want to rush you into radiation and poisoning and chemo and all those things, and they're just not really geared, like you say, the prevention or the prevention, the cure aspect, and the different things to boost the immune system. Mm-hmm. They're just so fear-based. It's like, oh my gosh, you're going to die tomorrow. You got to cut this out. And they just...
Well, I mean, they feel like the one big tool they have, that hammer, is going to be the one that fixes everything. So we might as well just hit it with the hammer as quickly as we can when we've realized there's a lot more fine-tuning. There are a lot of other things that people can do, but that's not the mainstream. That's not the direction that this train started rolling, and that train is rolling. And it's people like us that have to have these discussions that say there's alternatives to that big hammer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you mentioned vitamin D a while ago. I think vitamin D is huge. I always say, like, this Susan Komen stuff, the pink ribbons everybody's wearing. I think they should put a vitamin D capsule in the middle of those ribbons because it is so significant. The immune system effect that vitamin D with adequate levels has. And it's interesting, I see more and more doctors checking vitamin D levels. As kind of an integrative medicine person, people come to me with the more complicated cases, but when they bring their lab work, a lot of times I'm seeing traditional doctors actually checking vitamin D levels. But I do find that they are kind of, there's a difference, and Lisa, you're an expert in this, I know, with optimal levels and adequate levels. And so they're checking these vitamin D levels that the range is anywhere from, 20 to 80, and they're saying that 30 is okay. And I'm like, no, you want 60 to 80.
That's a very good point.
Really underdosing
it. It's like your car going a certain mile per hour. nobody really pays attention to their body. While 30 might be okay for some people, and they have nothing wrong and they feel good. If you're at 30 and you don't feel good, listen to what your body's saying. 5 little points could make all the difference for you. It's like a thermostat in the room is probably a better analogy. Where are you comfortable?
And vitamin D can really affect mood. People have thought for years that seasonal affective disorder, where it's like dark in the winter, and they're like,
I got it.
What's the problem? But it's like, that's because you're not getting your vitamin D.
Yeah.
And, and that does cause significant depression.
Yeah, and with as many processed foods that don't have the nutrients that it used to have in it. Oh gosh, and I had some time at home recently and watched documentaries all day about the food supply, and then I wind up all mad.
Yes, exactly. My daughter rescues pit bulls, and the dog actually, when I go to take my D and omega-3, she stands next to the counter and insists she takes them. I just give them to her, no water. And I swear this week, for some reason, I had a brain fart, I guess you could call it. I just didn't take my D. Well, I started noticing the dog was blue. I'm like, do you think she's blue because I didn't give her the D? But interesting how we know, including the animals.
That's hilarious. That is hilarious.
She's up and running again today.
I've done that. I've thrown my dog a vitamin more than once.
If I take you my D, you must give it. If you have a dog, give it to them. Because the shocking thing to me is they actually like it, and they they play with it. So it's a great treat, and we all need it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing to me. Animals can get all the same diseases that we get. I've known people with cats with cancer and dogs with diabetes. I think
that really points to our diet, because really they're making the dog food out of the byproducts of the things that we're eating. It's just not the part that that people find that palatable. So they grind up that same stuff and they put it in the dog food, and then your animals get sick. Isn't that a sign?
Yeah, but you know something? It depends on what dog food you're eating.
Yes, no, that's true.
I have to say, these rescues that I watch, this guy runs a rescue with pit bulls, the most damaged, burned. He feeds the dogs better than I have ever seen a human in a hospital eat. They look it like their healing is amazing, and I'm flabbergasted at these owners that feed their dogs better than my daughter feeds her dog better than she feeds herself.
That's crazy. Well, I mean, those people that are like, I really want to feed my dog something good, and then the person is eating Cheetos and Mountain Dew. It's like,
never. And these dogs are getting all the high, like the best of the best. My daughter talked about the barf diet, which is an actual name, but it's all very from the earth, if you will, for the animals. And I'm like, why do the animals go to such lengths when it comes to us? I think it's back to that mercy for yourself again.
Yes.
And this is your oxygen mask here, but put it on with a sense of urgency.
That's right.
Yep.
Okay, they're saying time for a little break here. Let's take a little break, and we'll be back with the Naked Doctor and Lisa Lynn in just a minute.
Doctor, my eyes have seen the years and the slow
Hi, welcome back to The Naked Doctor. I'm Dr. Tammy.
And then this is Chrissy.
And we are here with Lisa Lynn today, celebrity fitness expert.
Yes,
and nutritionist.
Expert on so many things.
Yes, expert. And now, like we talked on break, that we were not going to talk about sex. So we're going to make you
we were trying to think of those things that really, what are those hot button, what really motivates people. And then we thought, sex drive. How does all of this affect your sex drive?
Yes.
Sex and chocolate.
Sex and chocolate. Yeah.
Don't forget that.
It's so interesting when I work with patients. Sometimes they won't, they'll be fat, sick, and nearly dead. It's kind of a little play on someone else's thing. But, that's where they're at. And it's like when I start talking about the potential of bringing their sex drive back and their love life, and they like perk right up.
What?
And they're like, what? that can happen? But I think it's interesting because we attribute age to there's nothing we can do about it.
Yeah, it's
hormonal
this
decline.
Is just what happens.
So really what we're talking about, the aging process and the loss of libido and sexual interest and all of that, is really just hormonal decline. And there's so much you can do. Of course, I love bioidentical hormones. That's kind of my thing. But there's so much naturally you can do to restore the adrenal glands, which make your hormones. And even, exercise can bring back testosterone and growth hormone, which
And get you in touch with your body, which people don't realize. If you're numb and shut off from your physical body with exercise, that's why I don't like some of these crazy CrossFit type things, because they're external and you're not really diving in the way it's meant to connect us back to ourselves. You'll see it. There's just a certain sexual prowess that goes along with that, if you will.
Yeah, things like yoga and stuff where you have to get mindfulness and get in touch with yourself. Yeah. And just the self-esteem, I think, that comes with not being, sick. That's right. It's not about being a Barbie doll in a bikini. It's really just feeling it okay in your skin, and so many people
just
don't.
Feeling a little stronger, and then feeling that was me when I started going back to the gym just here recently, is that it wasn't about, okay, I got to do this and I have to do it this many times a week. I was proud of myself for just getting in there. I was proud of myself for getting 5 extra minutes on the elliptical that I couldn't do the time before. And it's so much less, because this used to be one of the things that I did, I have to admit, was looking at everyone else and comparing myself to everyone else. And this time I thought, that doesn't matter. You know what I am? I'm proud of that guy over there, and I'm proud of myself. And I'm proud of that lady over there, and I'm proud of myself. So once I changed that mindset, it made the gym a much more fun experience for me.
That's a powerful thing, because I know for me, I feel pretty content and happy in my skin. But the second I lift my eyes up from my shoes, which is the only person I can change or control, and I look sideways, all of a sudden I feel not good enough again. And so I've learned to. And if I don't look sideways at those, because there's always going to be someone faster, smarter, leaner, but be where you are right in your spot. And I actually love home fitness for that, because you can really, unless you're home all the time and you have to get out, it's a really good place to get centered in your environment. Work out with your spouse, or if you need time alone, do it alone, but go inward versus being so focused on, like you said, reps, steps. It's not about that. It's about just showing up.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm definitely a home exerciser. I do, people have always been like, because they're kind of looking at me kind of like the preacher come to dinner, like, where do you work out at? And I'm like, at home. Yeah. And, it's like, well, I think part of that is after dealing with, not dealing with, but, interacting with patients and, the collaborators and things that I do with my projects and stuff. That's just my time. I don't want to be in a gym.
Right.
Someone saying, would you look at this mole?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we used to have a yoga studio incorporated into our practice, and I couldn't even go to yoga without like somebody, saying, exactly that. Can you look at this? My foot's hurting. No boundaries. Yeah. And I loved them. I mean, they're like family to me, but I have to have that space to do my own thing. So
that's a good point, because that's totally what working out is about. And I was a big gym rat, but one thing I've realized over the years is we're too busy. It's the biggest excuse. If you can get so much done in 15 minutes at home, or 10 or 5 or even 1, but you can't get to the gym and back in 1. So you got to have a make it work attitude and system to back it up. And it's not perfection, it's progress. You can get 10 minutes home every day, cross it off with a Sharpie and give yourself a star.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And, with your videos, especially, I really did love that Metabolic Booster one. That is, 30 minutes and 3 times a week. It can make such a significant difference. And and people don't have to feel it alone, because I felt like you were in the room with me, which was really cool. I'm like, I'm working out with Lisa. But, so, I mean, it's kind of the best of both worlds, but it's, you don't have to really interact if you don't want to interact as well.
Yeah.
I love to dance. Dancing is my thing.
That's awesome.
I do kind of a little mixture with, and I noticed your Metabolic Booster kind of incorporates the high interval intensity training, the HIIT training, which is the best for fat burning. And we could have a whole conversation on that, which I wish we had more time to do that today, but we'll do it next time maybe. But, the fat burning that comes with that. So now I kind of I'll do high intensity kind of dance moves, and then I'll rest, and then high intensity. And so
that's good.
You can mix up any routine. And I'm always asking patients, well, what feels good to you? If you were going to exercise, what could you envision yourself doing and really help them? Because, thinking about going out, and if they're deconditioned doing high intense, that CrossFit stuff and injuring themselves. I mean,
Right.
so many people think they got to work out for 2 hours a day and just kill themselves.
I know. I was there, by the way. Let's call it what it is. It was exercise bulimic, and it allowed me to eat a lot of even sometimes healthy food. But our bodies, we only have so much life in our joints, and so we have to begin with the end in mind and think, I still have to eat a moderate amount and preserve my system. That way I don't have to over-exercise and kill my joints.
And really, isn't that just kind of sort of switching one addiction for another when that happens?
Yep.
It's
it's
still not,
worse.
it's not necessarily, it's a healthier maybe activity than binge eating or whatever someone's choosing to do, drinking or smoking or whatever. And in some cases I've thought to myself, if I could just switch my unhealthy addictions to a healthy addiction, but in that case still there's something that makes you want to go too far with it. There's something that makes you want to...
There's no peace there.
There's no peace there. You haven't really resolved what the true core problem was.
I did that for many, many years, and then when I had started to become injured, I realized, thank God for this. It had to be my guardian angel. I had to go, okay, so I want to work out every day for the rest of my life because it grounds me. That means I can lower I do the metabolic booster sometimes twice a week, sometimes one. I really take an inventory of how I feel. If I'm stressed and hurting and tired and fighting sickness, I have this little Pilates yoga bar method with weights, where you lay down in your bed workout. And that way I don't feel like I didn't do anything. I did just enough to help my health physically and mentally and spiritually without hurting myself. But it takes a long time to really get there and realize, like what you said, that this was good, but I'll be honest, any addiction is just as destructive in our lives, whether it's smoking or over-exercising.
Welcome back to Naked Doctor. I'm Dr. Tammy.
And this is Chrissy.
And we have Lisa Lynn, our celebrity fitness expert.
Yes, just
and
generally
nutritionist.
awesome person.
And
Aww.
the time has gone by so fast today, so I just want to make sure that everybody has access to getting your information, Lisa, and your protein powder. I really didn't mean it to turn into a protein powder commercial, but your stuff is just the best. I mean, I've tried so many. I've probably tried literally 50 different protein powders. And so
I have a lot of half-consumed canisters in my pantry
I
that I gotta
still
throw
do,
away
yeah.
because they suck. I'm sorry. It's just true.
Yeah.
or they taste like NutraSweet, or they just
Or
taste
nothing.
artificial,
Yeah.
or just gummy, and then they
Or don't mix well. That's the worst. You try to mix one up at the office and it turns into like pudding in the bottom of it. Yeah, that's
and then you don't even get the protein. It's all just sitting down in there.
Website where we can purchase these things.
www.lynfit.com, is that right? lynfit.com.
lynfit.com.
You left an N off there.
Yes, I did. That's just, cool.
Did you know you left an N
Did you
off
know
there?
you spelled your name wrong?
Paid someone a lot of money for that little change there.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine.
You need us to tell you that. And you have a Facebook page, Lisa?
Yes, Lisa Lynn Fitness, and I'm on Twitter at Lisa Lynn Fitness and Instagram, and I think all of these can help support people. So be my friend.
Yes, friend her for sure. We love her. We friend her. New book, Win the Fight, Stomp Out Melanoma, and she's combined her efforts with an MD and wrote a book on holistic nutrition, exercise, and stress reduction. So very exciting. Where can they get the book? On your website, or are you on
my
any other?
website? It's on Amazon, and even some Barnes & Noble sites, but I hope it inspires.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not an uncommon thing. And I think that it also translates across the board to other types of cancer. I mean, cancer's an immune system breakdown. So even if it's not melanoma, I think it can really translate across the board, which is exciting. What's your next project, Lisa?
Totally. Well, I hope to be writing a book with Dr. Tammy soon on how to harness the power of your hormones so you can lose weight after 50.
Oh, that's so great that you said that, because I actually just kind of started dissecting out kind of an outline. So I'm very excited.
That's
awesome. That's cool.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
The man upstairs has been speaking to me, and I listened to him. So whenever you're ready.
I love it. I'm ready. Okay, awesome. So
I love having projects like that in the works. I want to be involved somehow.
come on.
And I'll do a review, and you can put a picture of my face in there.
We'll do it.
Absolutely.
So reach out to Lisa on the website. Order her stuff, her protein powder. Can't say enough good things about it. Her exercise DVD is just an easy thing to do and get going, change your life. It is the new year. It's time to really start thinking about all that. So we'll have you back real soon. We're talking about just doing kind of a regular spot with you, Lisa. I'm excited about that. And
looking forward to it always. Yeah. Conversations are great.
I can't wait. And I always like to stay and leave people with your someday is today. Do it now.
Do it now.
You have all the tools. There they are.
I love it.
Yep.
All right, everyone have a fabulous, blessed week, and we'll see you back here next week on The Naked Doctor.
Bye-bye.
Diamond sister hiding out of one she paid